everybody, welcome to No Excuses. I'm your host, Rodney Arbona, and my very special guest is DJ, producer, film production. How are you, buddy?
Great. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. It's so great to see you here. It's been a long time, you and I trying to get this done.
Yeah. As I said, when I came into the spot, you're one of the people I respect most.
Thank you.
In these film festival circuits because you're genuine.
Thank you.
So I was excited to come, especially with talk shows and this, that, and the other. Sometimes people take shots, they ask you crazy questions, but I really do feel like I'm here with a friend. So
Thank you. You're so welcome. I feel the same way, DJ.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you've gone through some challenges in your life. I know you and I had some private talks, and these are the things that, to me, what brings No Excuses to light. It's not about me. It's about how we can help other people see that path and take those steps that you've already taken for them. And tell us a little bit about what your challenges were. I know with school was not an easy thing for you.
So yeah, basically my road to become a filmmaker was a bumpy one. And I think if you see my movies, you see that there's always a unique take on reality. My mom's side's from Italy, which certainly molded the way that I see the world. Because when my parents got divorced, I was constantly with my grandmother and her sisters. So with my grandmother, I learned Italian, I grew up speaking it, and then I moved to Italy. So in my films, there's always this role of the mother and the grandmother and the women that are taking care of, so to speak, the men. In Smack, which is a film on the heroin epidemic, we actually showcase what the drug epidemic does to a mother, right? And we play on the word smack, which is a nickname for heroin.
Of which you won Best Film at the Cutting Room International Film Festival.
Right.
So congratulations on that, and that was amazing in itself. There was, 200-300 films, and you came up on top.
Yeah, that was great. And Katrina Micho always does a great job. Actually, in Vegas, we went to the Italian American Film Festival there, and I showed Pasquale's Magic Veal. It's certainly, I would feel very uncomfortable without mentioning my partner, Julie Robinson.
Sure.
Who I met in film school, and I come up with these crazy ideas, and she makes them happen. From finding the permits to finding the proper ways to shoot the film, cameras, locations, SAG paperwork.
So what does it take for all those steps that you mentioned? Is it months, weeks, and what do people need to do to even think about doing something of this nature?
So being an independent filmmaker is what I love the most because you don't ask permission to tell your stories.
You need permission?
No. Yeah.
I know you long enough that's not happening.
No. But, lawsuits happen.
Right.
You have to, I certainly can be flagrant.
A little.
In the sense of when I have it on my mind, really and truly it's happening. And that's where the magic of having a great partner, Julie and I have had cops come on set.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, and she wasn't at that moment cracking under pressure,
right,
saying this was his idea. We both were like, well, I guess we're going to jail together. And that really is how you make movies. One of the things I was saying before I came in here, why I respect you so much,
thank you,
is that you're genuine. And I feel that in this industry, that's something that truly lacks. You have a lot of people who have angles. When I come out and I speak the truth, it makes people feel uncomfortable. But I love film so much. If you ask me to be a production assistant on a project that I like, I'm willing to do it. And that's really, I think, what it takes to tell these great stories is you have to love what you're doing.
Absolutely.
And the collaboration piece is the most exciting. I think that the role of a director is to find people that are brighter than they are. So
absolutely.
I could shoot. The first thing I said when I came in, I love the setup of what you have going on. Exciting. And I would have never even thought to do it with 3 cameras like this.
Thank you.
And I'm learning. I think a lot of people let their egos get in the way.
Sure.
And they want to say this was my film and I did everything. Well, the last project I shot, it started to rain. And that wasn't scripted. So I had to take the AD aside. I had to take the whole crew aside and said, we have to write in a scene where it's raining.
There you go.
And in post, we'll make it work. And that's what's so exciting about filmmaking is that if you truly love the process, you're on a roller coaster. and hopefully that roller coaster is going to bring a message to the audience that is going to cause them to reevaluate their own lives.
That's beautiful. And not only your filmmaking, you also got your degree recently, so congratulations. So it's not like you don't have anything to do. Somehow you slipped it in between lines?
Yeah,
no
right.
pun intended?
Right. Yeah, this was a hectic year.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
This year was really crazy.
And you got your degree in?
So I did a something called the DML, which is a doctorate in modern languages. So it's in Italian and Spanish film predominantly. But the thesis that I wrote on was on immigration, and it was entirely in Italian.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was challenging.
That had to have been a challenge because the Italian people coming from Italy to America goes back like in the late 1800s.
Right.
So how much history did you go back on?
So my thesis, which was done by a mentor of mine named Antonio Vitti, was on how immigrants are represented in Italian cinema. And right now, immigration in Italy is a huge topic. But
and why is that?
well, much like in the United States, people take different sides, and people aren't necessarily on the same page whether they believe immigration is a good thing or a bad thing, especially when you're talking about refugees.
Sure.
My whole idea, though, was to show that if the news has an angle, whether it's CNN, Fox, whatever,
right,
we're never really getting the truth.
True.
So who's telling us the truth? The directors.
Got it.
And it comes down to
that makes
storytellers.
Sense. Yes, storytellers. Perfectly
to tell
said.
us
Thank
the
you.
Truth.
Right.
So I profiled a lot of the directors that I thought. There's this one director who's actually from New York. His father's from Rome, named Jonas Carpignano, who's made fantastic films showing immigration in Italy in a totally different light. Perhaps in a light that you wouldn't see in the news or certainly in the newspapers.
But the truth hurts.
But the truth hurts. But the truth hurts, right.
That's wonderful. So we got SMAC, and we met before SMAC, and you were winning film festivals then. What's next? What more can you accomplish? What are you looking to do to present that message next?
So SMAC's a really tough message.
That's a tough message,
right.
And a good one.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And much, when we were talking about before, the genuine desire to bring stories that you're interested in without selling out is tough.
Yes.
Is tough. So SMAC's talking about, especially I live in Staten Island, how many of the drug dealers are giving heroin away for free to get the kids hooked. And I tried to make a horror film to scare the kids from even trying it. Taking a different angle, though, such as if you are an addict, we're not saying you're a bad person, but what's the deterrent?
Right.
You're also keeping your mother hostage. That was the whole thing
Sure.
with SMAC. Your decisions are affecting other people. And that came from certainly going to a funeral where I lost a friend.
I'm sorry.
To heroin. Prior to that, I wrote 2 comedies. I did a film called Pasquale's Magic Veal with a couple guys from The Sopranos, Vinny Pastore.
Yeah, which I know.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to work with Joe D'Onofrio.
Know Joey too.
So, who's become a really good friend. Artie
Yes.
Pasquale, Dan Grimaldi, Angie Muscat. And that film was talking about contemporary relationships in New York and how a lot of times people don't know what they want and therefore they get involved in sticky situations, but in a humorous way. Magic Veal and whoever
Right.
thinks that's tell the truth. And that film did really well, and that opened up the door to some of the funding with SMAC, and then another project that I did called Santino, which was also a comedy. Right now I'm trying to shoot the last episode of SMAC and then put them all together, and we'll have about
Wow.
an hour and a half, and then release that as a feature film, and also we're in the process of pitching that as a full series. I mean, I really, really believe in SMAC. The issue is people are scared of the material.
Sure.
You know, when
It really comes face forward.
yeah.
And you're forcing people to make a decision, and that's usually tough, especially under the circumstances when drugs or addiction of any kind are involved.
Yeah, and that's really been the hard part about putting together a series like this, that people are impacted. You know, I put out the first episode for free on YouTube just to get people seeing it and hopefully to have kids react with the material in a different way. But because it's such an ugly topic, film festivals as a whole are afraid to do
Sure,
it.
they want comedy and dramedy like everybody else. What's easy?
Recently, we had a showing of Smack at the Soho House. I'm a member there, and they supported it, and we had a ton of people, and the reactions were awesome. But again, the issue is, how do you make money off of that? And what surprised me is, with all of these people that have had abuse problems and whatnot in Hollywood, you would think someone would get behind it and say, let's tell this story to give people an advantage that I never had.
Right.
You know, it's not to come across as a pessimist, but truly, you know, we're fighting, saying, hey, look, like, the quality of the shots is there,
Right.
the story's there. Whenever it's getting into a festival, it's winning. The acting's on point. Let's make this movie. And people, I think in 2020, we live in a very self-righteous society.
Sure.
Where everyone's saying, I do the right thing, and, you know, global warming, but I'll get on my private jet.
Right.
But in reality, you have the ability and you have the opportunity, especially with the iPhone, to shoot a film on 4K.
Right.
And tell important stories and get your story out immediately.
Do you think possibly, rather than going big time, going more documentary, is that a possibility in creating more of an interest on an entry level, meaning we need to get this message out to kids, high schools, and things of that nature?
It's funny you say that, because that's something I'm exploring now with the footage that we have. We have 4 different episodes. And what I thought would be interesting would be to create a hybrid. So you have
Right.
a cop, maybe you have someone who's had an experience with the drug, and then you do flashbacks to what we shot.
Sure.
And this way you can play with both. Unfortunately, when you're talking film, you are talking money.
Right.
So in order to really, you know, we shot Pasquale's Magic Veal on the Red. You know, that whole kit could cost $70,000 if you were to purchase it. It's a medium that's so different. You know, if you're an artist, you could go to Walmart, buy paint, and say, look, I have the ability.
Right.
As a filmmaker,
You don't even have to paint, just throw it up against the wall.
that's it. That's it. Yeah. As a filmmaker, your paint supplies and your paintbrush cost a lot of money,
Sure.
especially when you're getting into union. So you have to collaborate with people that are willing to participate on every level and really give their souls to the projects.
Yeah, that's a big part, is giving the souls and allowing it to then come and send a message, as it is. That energy has to be transferred, not just from the person to the screen, but the person to the bigger audience. So this way more people want to see it, because only affecting one is not enough.
Right.
Where do you feel, as you make these films, do you feel you're evolving into something next, or do you do each film as a single film?
I think so. My first film, Meet Mario, which was a film on racism, especially in the Italian American community with the African American community. You know, my partner, Julie Robinson, is African American, and we started talking about how many times, just how Spike Lee did it and Do the Right Thing. There's so many commonalities between the two groups, but somehow you have the films of Scorsese, I'm not afraid to say it, that have painted Italians to be these bigots,
Right.
Italian Americans. But in reality, if racism is an integral part of the Italian American community, then that's a really ugly thing.
Sure.
So that was our first film, and we shot that, a feature film, on under 20 grand. You know, there's mistakes in the film.
Of course.
You know, we were getting our hands dirty. Our own professors told us this is impossible, and we really wanted to tell that
I was just going to say, when you hear that, I know you,
Yeah,
DJ.
yeah, exactly.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah, and I hope that they watch this, because we exchanged.
They will.
We exchanged a lot of words.
They're not getting a choice.
And
No
I'm not-
excuses.
No excuses. Exactly. And I'm still not over it. So, but the film company that we run is called Meet Mario Productions, in the hope that we never lose that spirit. You know, when you're trying to tell a story that's never been told, and when you're trying to, as self-righteous as it may sound, wrong or right, there's a lot of adversity.
Sure.
And we gathered a great team. We had the whole film school volunteer their time to tell this story. You know, we were combing New York actors, and that really was, I think, one of the most exciting projects I've ever been a part of. And when you look back at your work, some directors are embarrassed. I'm always amazed that it happened. You know, these are little miracles, for better or worse. As you know, being a filmmaker yourself, so much can go wrong.
Sure.
You know, you could lose sound. God forbid an actor gets injured. It could rain, it could snow. So when the project is done, it's almost a little miracle.
Yeah, little.
Yeah, definitely.
When you saw the film, did you feel like you made that wrong or right?
Yeah, definitely. I had a lot of, well, I'm not, the type of films that I make and the type of scripts that I write ask a lot of questions. They don't provide a lot of answers. So I had a lot of people reach out to me. I had a friend of mine who actually saw the movie on Amazon, and he said, you know, I wanted to ask this African-American girl as a date to a wedding. And I said I didn't, because I was embarrassed. He said, and then I saw your movie, and it really hit home and made me reflect on why I did and why I did. And I wasn't saying, well, you should have or you shouldn't. That's not, I hope I don't come across as a preachy person, but it's to raise the questions.
Right.
Where are these things coming from?
Right.
And I think, especially in New York, you have art imitates reality, but reality also imitates art.
Yes, it does.
So you get these people that maybe watch The Sopranos, you get these people that maybe watch Goodfellas, and they say, well, that's what an Italian's supposed to be.
Right.
And then they go out and they say these nonsense words that don't even exist in Italian. And if you see the film, we're really hard on that.
Good.
We're really hard on that. Yeah.
Well, that's what it's all about, DJ, is making a wrong a right in all our messages that we share with each other, because collaboration is much stronger than separation.
Very well said.
Thank you. What's next for you?
Next, I'm currently working on a comedy, touching upon...
Drama was a little too much. We had to break it up.
Yes. Well, you know, what ends up happening, the way that I write is when I have an idea, I don't sleep at all. And I see the idea and the movie in my head.
That's great.
Every night until we make the movie. Wow, it's great, but I'm also, you know,
it's great
never really sleeping.
For me to see you, not for me to be you.
Yeah. So the comedy, the comedies are nice because, but my comedies are all dark.
Yes.
Dark comedies. One person's laughing, the other person's confused.
Yeah.
So.
When do you think you'll have it all done?
The script that I'm working on now, I'm at 50 pages. It's a feature. So probably at the end of the month, I'll have a really tight copy. And then I've had some people express interest in the concept, and we'll go from there.
That's great. DJ,
hey,
thanks so much for being here today, brother. It's great seeing you.
Thank you, you too.
No excuses. Yeah, DJ, film producer, comedy writer, drama. He's not a dark guy. He's very, very pleasant. Thanks for watching, folks. We'll see you again. Take care.
Thank you.